Good morning, everyone. This morning's devotion is entitled, What Do You Have? Our verse of reference is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. But he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Sometimes in life we find ourselves in positions where our resources seem inadequate, whether it be inadequate to meet the requirements of daily living or inadequate to complete a particular task. Sometimes in our Christian walk we may feel the same way. Am I doing enough? What do I bring to the kingdom? What use am I? 1 Samuel 17:43. In this well-known verse from the story of David and Goliath, Goliath said to David, Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Goliath was a 9-foot giant, a battle-hardened warrior, winner of countless battles. His tools of trade were sword, shield, armor. Who was David? Just a small shepherd boy with a stick and a couple stones. Even his brother didn't think he had any place being on the field of battle. This is the scenario we are faced with when our situation seems overwhelming in the face of our resources, whether it be in our home environment, with regards to having enough food to last the week, or professionally. Multiple reports due and deadlines rapidly approaching. All David had in terms of physical resources was his shepherd's staff, his sling, and his stones. But for the child of God, there is always more than meets the eye. I am reminded of the story of the Elisha when he and his servant were surrounded by the armies of the Arameans. As his servant began to fear, Elisha asked God to remove the scales from his eyes that he may see, and his servant was able to see the hills filled with the armies of God. Greater is he who is within me than he who is in the world. David was able to say to Goliath, You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord God Almighty. And the same insignificant weapons which Goliath mocked were what led to his downfall. So, whatever you have today that may seem inadequate or insufficient or incapable of getting the job done, remember David. If we question what we can do for God based on who we are or what we have, we will always be found wanting. The Bible says in Isaiah, All of us have become like one who is unclean, and all our righteous acts are like filthy rags. It is not what we have or who we are, but whether we are willing to be used by God. When the angel of God visited Gideon, and told him he would be delivering Israel out of the hand of the Midianites, his response was this: My family is the weakest in my tribe, and I am the least in my family. When Samuel came to see Jesse's sons to anoint the next king of Israel, Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. It was only when Samuel asked, Are these all of your sons? That Jesse answered, There is still the youngest, but he is tending the sheep, seemingly not having considered David as a suitable candidate, as a possible next king. After all, he was just a small shepherd boy. But as the Lord said to Samuel, the Lord does not look at the things man looks at. The Lord has plans for each of us, and all that he requires from us is a grain of faith. All the widow at Zarephath had was a jar of flour and a jug of oil, but a grain of faith made it last as long as was required. In Jeremiah, we find some reassuring words from the Lord when he declares to us, For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and the future. So whatever your situation, whenever you feel overwhelmed or tempted to ask yourself, What do I have? What can I do? I remind you of David and say to you, It's not what you have, but what the Lord is willing to do through you. May you be encouraged.